Have you ever come across something, maybe a story or an object, that's just so profoundly mysterious it stops you in your tracks? Well, today we're diving deep into arguably the ultimate example, the Voynich Manuscript. Imagine this, a book, maybe 600 years old, bound in vellum. It's got around 240 pages filled with these incredibly bizarre illustrations, plants you've never seen, weird diagrams, and here's the kicker, it's written entirely in a language, a script, that absolutely no one has ever been able to read. Not historians, not linguists, not even the best code breakers or modern AI. Seriously, this isn't just some dusty old book. Think of it more like a riddle wrapped in actual parchment, absolutely soaked in conspiracy theories, and just shrouded in secrecy. It sits there in a vault at Yale University, basically mocking every attempt to understand it for centuries. So the big questions we're tackling are, where on earth did it come from? Who could have possibly created something so baffling? And why? Why is its language unlike anything else known?
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to use some key insights from the work, the Voynich Manuscript, world's most mysterious book. To really unpack this, we'll try to extract the crucial bits of information, navigate this labyrinth of theories surrounding this 240-page enigma. Think of this as your shortcut, really, to getting up to speed on one of history's most fascinating and, frankly, frustrating intellectual puzzles.
And labyrinth of theories is definitely the right term. This thing isn't just a static object. It feels like a living conspiracy, one that just refuses to die down. The possibilities people throw around are just wild. Lost civilizations, forbidden medieval science, even things like, interdimensional communication. When you really consider how stubbornly it has resisted any understanding, you start to see why these theories take hold. It's just that strange. Okay, so where does the modern story begin? It really kicks off in 1912. There's this rare book dealer, Wilfred Voynich. Apparently, he had a real knack, a sort of sixth sense, for spotting the truly unusual, the historically significant. He finds this manuscript at an Italian Jesuit college near Rome, buys it, and instantly knows he's got something completely out of the ordinary. And what he found must have been mind-blowing. Around 240 pages, right? Though some pages are missing.
Yeah.
Each one covered in this dense script, an alphabet nobody recognized at all. But beyond the text, the illustrations, they really pull you in. You've got these depictions of, plants that do not exist. They're like strange hybrids, part familiar maybe, part utterly alien, like something from another world's biology textbook. Then there are these really odd scenes. Nature women bathing in these elaborate tubs, all connected by strange, almost organic-looking plumbing, hints of biology, alchemy, who knows. You also see astrological charts, but with constellations that don't quite match ours, maybe unfamiliar planetary diagrams, and sections that look like pharmaceutical recipes, jars, and labels, but again, in that unreadable script.
Right, and Voynich himself, being quite learned, initially leaned towards it being maybe a lost alchemical text, or some kind of secret scientific work, perhaps by some forgotten medieval genius. Almost immediately, as word got out, the speculation started swirling. You heard names like Roger Bacon, the 13th century English philosopher. He often got accused of dabbling in the weird stuff. Others suggested maybe a hidden Renaissance alchemist. What's really interesting is how quickly the mystery became not just what it was, but who could possibly create something so complex, so resistant to understanding, that it stumped everyone right from the start.
It really is the ultimate challenge, isn't it? Like a gauntlet thrown down across centuries. Its impact was immediate. It became this total obsession for cryptographers, scholars, linguists, even intelligence agencies got involved. But here's the really frustrating part. Despite hundreds, literally hundreds, of attempts over more than a century now, not one single sentence, not one word reliably has ever been translated. And boom, just like that, the manuscript cemented its place. It became this icon of unsolved historical conspiracies. But let's dig into why it's so impossible. To really get why it's such a stubborn riddle, you have to look at the script itself. This is where cryptographers just hit a brick wall. Because on the surface, it looks like a natural language. It's written left to right consistently. It has repeating patterns, word lengths that seem plausible, structures that look like grammar. It doesn't look like random gibberish, and here's where it gets really, really weird.
That's exactly it. The reason it's so baffling, why it shrugs off every modern decryption technique, is what some call the triple problem. First, the alphabet. The characters themselves don't match any known writing system, anywhere. They're unique. Second, obviously, the words formed by these unique characters don't show up in any known dictionary, no cross-referencing possible. And third, the deep structure. The way words seem to be put together, the syntax, the morphology, how word forms might change, it doesn't align with any linguistic family we know. It's just an island.
Yeah.
Utterly unique.
And it's not like people haven't tried. The sheer number of brilliant minds who have failed is, it's humbling. Linguists, mathematicians, codebreakers, they've thrown every tool in the box at it. Frequency analysis, counting letters and words, pattern recognition, sophisticated computer algorithms, nothing. And get this, even top codebreakers from the U.S. National Security Agency, the NSA, and the CIA had a crack at it. During World War II, some of the best allied codebreakers looked at it. They thought, maybe it's some super complex enemy cipher.
Right, imagine finding that during wartime.
But even they failed. Completely failed.
Which brings us neatly to the hoax theory. Why not just say someone faked it back then? Well, the problem is that the text seems too structured. It follows statistical patterns found in real languages, things like Zipf's law about word frequency. To fake that so convincingly, especially back in the 15th century, that would require an incredible amount of effort and linguistic knowledge. Far more, arguably, than just writing something meaningful in code. Think about faking, say, a complex piece of music. Anyone can make noise, but replicating the internal structure, the patterns, the feel of a real composer, that's incredibly hard. The Voynich has that feel of real language structure. So if it is a hoax, it's an unbelievably sophisticated one. That statistical consistency implies a real system underneath it all. So if it's likely not just random scribbles or a simple hoax, what are we left with? There are sort of three main camps for what the text itself might be. One, it could be a lost human language, something that simply disappeared from history without any other trace, an incredible linguistic fossil, if you like. Two, it might be a cipher, but one so incredibly complex, maybe using methods we haven't even conceived of, that modern cryptography just can't touch it. A kind of unbreakable pre-digital encryption. And then, three, this is where things get really speculative. Connecting to the illustrations, could it be a non-human language, something entirely alien? What if it wasn't made by humans, for humans?
Wow, okay. A non-human language, that's a leap. So if the text is just this unreadable wall, maybe the pictures are the key. You mentioned they're bizarre. And the book seems divided into sections based on these illustrations, right?
Exactly. The illustrations might be our best bet. Let's take that botanical section again, these plants that don't exist. Some have bits that look vaguely familiar, like parts of known medieval herbs, but then they're combined in impossible ways, or have structures utterly alien to earth plants. It really makes you, the listener, ask, what is this book showing us? Alien flora, plants from a lost world, symbolic representations.
And the astronomy part, those star charts and diagrams, you see these circular diagrams, zodiac-like symbols, stars grouped in unfamiliar ways. Is it Earth's sky from a different time, or maybe a highly stylized map? Or, and this is where the theories get fun, is it charting someone else's sky? A map from another planet?
Then you have the biological section. Visually, it's maybe the most striking. These small, naked female figures, often shown with swollen bellies, bathing or interacting with this network of tubes and green liquid. It's really strange imagery. And yeah, this is where some of the wildest theories come from. Is it depicting some ancient fertility cult? Early ideas about human anatomy? Or, as some theorists jump to, are we seeing diagrams related to genetics, maybe even alien experimentation or reproduction? It's unsettling.
And finally, that pharmaceutical section. Jars, containers, what look like roots or herbs next to snippets of the unreadable text, like recipes or labels.
Yeah, very much like an apothecary's notes, but again, totally impenetrable.
So putting all these pictures together, impossible plants, weird astronomy, strange bathing rituals, unknown recipes, what does it all add up to? What do you think this book could be trying to communicate visually?
Well, synthesizing those visual themes leads to several interpretations. Maybe it's a highly sophisticated herbal guide, but for plants we no longer know or which never existed here. Or an ancient medical text, full of symbolic representations of the body or treatments. Some see it as an occult grimoire, a book of secret knowledge, maybe magical or alchemical, where the images are symbolic keys for initiates. But if you take those impossible plants and stars seriously, then the alien field guide idea starts to look less crazy. What if it is a literal guide, a catalog of extraterrestrial species, star charts for navigation between worlds? Left behind, maybe.
Okay, it's clear why this thing is such fertile ground for speculation. This level of complete mystery just begs for conspiracy theories. The void gets filled.
Oh, absolutely. And the theories are fascinating in themselves. We can kind of group them. First, you got theories about hidden earthly knowledge, like the alchemical manual idea, that it's a coded guide to making gold or the elixir of life or some other forbidden knowledge encrypted to hide it from the church or rivals, passed down in secret societies maybe. Related is the Jesuit secret theory. It was found in a Jesuit college after all. And the Jesuits were known for collecting knowledge, sometimes controversial knowledge, and let's be honest, for their secrecy. Did they know what it was and deliberately hide it? Maybe guard it because it contained something dangerous?
Then you get theories about Lost or future worlds. The lost civilization idea is popular. Could this be the last surviving text from Atlantis? Or Lemuria? Or some other forgotten culture? The illustrations would then be their unique plants, their science, their rituals, a single miraculous survivor. And stretching that even further is the time traveler's diary. I mean, why not? Someone from the future leaves behind notes on advanced biology or cosmology, but written in a script nobody from the past could possibly decode. It kind of neatly explains the weirdness, doesn't it?
It certainly offers an explanation. And finally, you have the beyond Earth theories. The alien hypothesis is a big one, maybe the most famous. It pulls together all the strangeness. The text is an alien language, the plants are extraterrestrial, the biological diagram shows alien reproduction or genetic engineering. Maybe it was left here deliberately. A gift, a database, or, maybe even a warning.
A warning, that's ominous.
And a more modern twist is the government cover-up. Some people find it suspicious that despite all the study, particularly by government agencies like the NSA, the full results aren't always public. So the theory goes, maybe someone has cracked it, and they're keeping it secret because the contents are too world-changing, dangerous.
Right. So with all these wild ideas floating around, have modern tools like AI actually made any headway? Has technology brought us any closer?
Well, yes and no. Computer scientists and AI researchers have definitely applied powerful algorithms to it. They look for patterns, statistical clues, potential underlying structures, things humans might miss. And there have been these periodic bursts of excitement, claims that, we found it's a cipher of Hebrew, or it's related to Proto-Romance languages, or even that it's a cleverly constructed artificial language. But here's the thing. Every single one of these claims, when other experts look closely, seems to fall apart. The proposed translations don't quite work, or they only decipher a tiny fraction, or the methodology is flawed. AI can find patterns, sure, but without some kind of key, some external reference point, like the Rosetta Stone for Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's just pattern matching. It can't confirm meaning. So no reliable, verifiable translation has ever held up. The core mystery remains untouched.
So after centuries, years of the best minds and now the best machines trying and failing, we're still basically back at square one. It leaves you with this stark choice, doesn't it? If this manuscript is just a medieval hoax, then it's without doubt the most complex, the most successful, the most intellectually baffling hoax ever conceived. Just an unparalleled piece of, trickery. But if it's genuine, then it could represent knowledge that humanity once had and completely lost. Or maybe, just maybe, it contains knowledge we were never meant to stumble upon in the first place. Which really brings it back to you, listening right now. After hearing all this, what does the Voynich Manuscript feel like to you? Is it just an elaborate, centuries-old prank? A lost scientific or medical text we just can't access? The language of a vanished people? Or do you lean towards the more exotic alien communication? A message from another dimension, a key to secrets that are maybe too big for us?
And the honest truth is, nobody knows. Not for sure, and maybe, just maybe, that's the whole point. Maybe that's why the theories flourish. Because a mystery this deep, this profound, it doesn't just allow imagination, it demands it. It forces us to think outside the box. The Voynich Manuscript remains the most stubborn, the most beautiful, and let's face it, the most maddeningly frustrating enigma in the entire history of books.
But there's always that little glimmer of hope, isn't there? That maybe tomorrow or next year, someone or something, maybe an AI we haven't built yet, will have that aha moment, that sudden insight that unlocks it all.
Perhaps. Until that day, though, the Voynich isn't really a closed book or a finished story. It functions more like a doorway. Not a physical doorway, obviously, but one made of ink and aged parchment. And it doesn't necessarily lead to another world, but maybe somewhere just as interesting. The realm of endless possibility. It reminds us how much is still out there, unknown.
And that depth sense of the unknown, that potential for anything, that is why it continues to haunt us.